That's a great two-pop. It's like, talk about a hard downbeat.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, this video's intention is redemption. Because the video I put up yesterday, of me trying to figure out how to combine amps with plugins, it was such a... It went miserably. And there was no resolution at the end. At the end, I still couldn't figure out ground noises and all this crap. And I put it up, and it was terrible, man. It was just me, like, in hell. Like, it was an in hell video. And when I looked after it loaded up, there was one view, and there was one thumbs down. I was like, the one person that watched this video hated it. So I deleted it. I'm like, all right. Because sometimes people thumbs down, I get a little butthurt. Whoever did that, I'm like, all right, I get it. We're considering it a mulligan. We figured it out. What I want to do is be able to track with my multi-amp setup that I have here, like Marshalls and Boogies and Oranges and AC30s, and also use like a plug-in simulator, because a lot of times I want other sounds. They don't necessarily have to be like, so it started kind of with like, man, I missed VH4, I missed it. Like, if I'm blending amps and I've got real amps, if I'm using something like a VH4 or a specific amp, like a Soldano, if I can get a good sound on a good sim and I blend it in with real Marshalls, in the grand scheme of things, I don't know if anybody would even know the difference. It's not, I'm not looking for these things to stand on their own on records. So, we figured out how to do it.
There's a switch on this.
There's a switch on this. All right, no. So, the way this works is I've got this guitar, and it plugs into my board, and at the end, it comes out a big sky left and right. One goes straight into my amp. 2 goes into a radial tone bone that's like a splitter, amp selector thing. Really nice piece of gear. But the reason I do the radial tone bone is because on the front, there's a ground lift. So, meaning I can lift one of the amps from the front of the radial instead of like going back there and using those little things or it's just how I do it. And it works perfect. Amps are clean, no ground noise. What I did was I came off the radial tone bone and went into a DI to now have 3. And it was a disaster. It was a disaster to the point where most of the people I think that watch my videos, they like me, right? James a cool guy, right? He's trying to help everybody. He's not a bad dude. He gave me a thumbs down. So, I'm not butthurt. I'm moving on.
Just like, yeah, that one's fair.
I've seen some videos with Steve, what's his name? The fitness guy we like. Steve Cook.
Yeah.
Steve Cook. And, people would be blasting him. And a couple times he's like, he wouldn't do a video for like a week or two, and then he would shoot a video and he'd have this look on his face and he's like, man, I've been just dealing with like so much hurt from the way people talk smack about me on YouTube. He says, I just gotta let it go, man. But people will know. Most people are cool to me, so I'm fine. But I'm not controversial, really. I mean, I'm just a dude, right?
The internet is not an easy place.
It can be a little scary, man. I mean, I've been moderating Gear Sluts for almost 20 years. I have dealt with trolling on like an epic level. So anyway, I split it off. I split off that tone bone, and it goes into the amp so I can lift the ground. But then there's other outputs, and there's a tuner out, and I went into a DI. First, I went into a Neve preamp for a DI, and when I had all 3 going, meaning both amps and a DI, it was like, it was just like, it wasn't just ground noise. There was some Clash of the Titans going on. So I stopped that, and then I went into another preamp, an Aphex, same thing. Then I have this little cheap preamp that's here. I don't know how somebody left it here, and I tried that. It was the same thing. Then I have a KGB DI. It's very high end. They call it instrument preamplification unit. It's like it's its own thing. It's fantastic. It's like $800, built like a tank. A Designs builds it like top notch. I went into that, same thing. So I was, trying to figure out what the heck, and I tried to lift to lift the ground on the radial, and it got worse. Then I thought somebody had suggested, why don't you try going into all right, they asked if I had the guitar rig and the studio were on the same circuit or whatever, power wise, and I said, well, I realized, well, no, I've got it. The guitar rig has its own separate power, its own separate trip light, and it's on its own thing in the studio. And then I was laying in bed last night after what this dude had said on Facebook, and I thought, I'm wondering if it's creating like a cancellation because it's two. So we came in this morning, we fired it up, we got it to sound the way it was sounding, which was terrible. Not as bad though, but still bad. Electricity can be weird, it fluctuates, but then I plugged it in all together into the studio rig, same thing. And then, ladies and gentlemen, Will, we were in the KGB, he's like, does it have a ground lift? I was like, yeah. I'm like, oh, wait a second, why don't I try that? It was perfect. I gave you props, dude.
Yeah.
So,
appreciate
we
it.
figured it out. Now, what we've done is we've redesigned the template because a lot of, starting today, realistically starting tomorrow at this point, because this took us a while, we have a lot of guitar tracks. And the thing is, when you're like the only dude pretty much playing on all your records, like you're trying to find things to be different, because you're you, right? Mm-hmm. And I've got my meat and potatoes, my Marshalls, my Vox, my Fender, my Orange, and my Mesa. And that's really, and I had a Kemper with every profile in the world, and I don't know, I just lost interest in working like that. There's nothing wrong with the Kemper, just everything, I don't know. There was something about it, everything just sounded the same after a while with the Kemper. I don't know why, I don't know if it was just me or I just didn't learn it properly, but I was done. But I thought, because we started getting on the VH4 kick, and now he's talking about the Herbert, and I miss my Ubershaw, because we've been mixing all these old records out of all these all these other amps. I'm like, man, I miss that Reeves, I miss the Hiwatt, and I thought, you know what? I wonder if I could do like an Axe Effects or like a Helix and have this other thing that I could integrate with this that would give me all these other sounds that I could just use to blend things. I'm not looking for this stuff to stand on its own. And then I started getting into it and watching it, and the Axe Effects just looks like not my thing, like it looks like it looks like an 80s Roland keyboard with the DOS and the print. I don't know, it just doesn't look like my thing. And the Helix is cool, but I don't know, it looks like it's some kind of funky pedal board. It's just not for me. I thought, you know what? So much, at the end of the day, it's just emulations either way. I'm like, let me just try these plugins, because I use Amplitude when I write. I love Amplitude. Jet City amp in Amplitude sounds amazing to me. And it's on a lot of my records, because I get done making the record, I get done writing the song and tracking drums, and my scratch guitar is this Jet City, and I just like the way it sounds, and I just mix it in. I don't ever get rid of it, That's why, a note, play good on your scratch tracks, because probably half the guitar solos on records that I make are take one.
Yeah.
Just
play good.
Just play good. Yeah, because you may keep it. So that's the whole story. So now I've got my template. We'll pull in G1 and G2. Boom. Which now we'll go here. You'll see they are, there's 3 tracks per take. There's G1A, which is cab 1, which for this I think is the rectifier. I've got it. G1B is the modded Marshall, the Ocean mod. And then there's G1DI, which is the KGB. And they're already set with their inputs. I did time adjuster because there's a little bit of a differential because one of it's direct. Hey, dude. Also,
You're on the interwebs.
Also, one of them is going through. The DI is going through the Avid HDIO, and the other two are going through the Burl B2. Yeah.
I finished all my schoolwork, and I only have one class left. And I set an alarm for 6 minutes before my class.
Okay.
Can I watch some TV?
Yes. Give me a kiss.
I'm also going to make a PB&J. Love you too.
I'll be in it a little bit. And I'm getting off early today, and we're gonna have family night. I think we're gonna play a game.
I'm probably going to work some more on my project.
Okay, good. I love you.
Love you too.
Okay, man. Welcome to.
Lugoland.
Okay, so that's it. That's the whole deal. So we've got in one. I'll ungroup these so we can listen to them separately. This is one which is right. Triple rectifier. That was with a little OCD and a little decimator. All right, so now we go to the Ocean mod. This is the Marshall. I'll give it the same treatment. Okay, now I've got a DI and it doesn't make noise. I don't have a DI. I don't have a DI. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yes, that DI. That's actually a nice DI. So that's a KGB. The KGB. Maybe a little hot. So now I can put amps on it and I can blend them. So we're going to put an amp. You know what we're going to do? We're going to start by testing the what is it? Like not the polarity, the phase. Let's just see where they're at, okay? Right. Yeah, so there it is. So there is the differential, and they're all, the polarity is right, they're all going down. Now up here, see, now it's a little bit of a different number. It's 2486, and that could be because the plugin's not on yet. So we're just bear with me. This is going to be a cool video. Well, maybe. We're hoping. We're shooting for it to be cool. There is. Do me a favor, just mute those, or yeah, there you go, whatever the heck that's called.
Stand by.
I think by now I'd know, right?
Stand by me.
So let's go to let's just go to Plugin Alliance. Yeah, let's go VH4. We'll just keep it simple right now. Okay, so now here's their VH4. Listen how nice and clean it is. Sounds great. A little more gain, a little more top end, scoopy scoop a little bit. All right. Okay, so and that's now that's the OCD going through it because this is going through my pedal board. So there we go. There are the 3 of them. Now let's try this. Let's test that that phase. Let's get rid of the decimator. Oh, you gotta on whatever. Why can't I think of that word?
Stand by.
Stand by. Okay. So now we come here and let's see what we got. It's like, yeah. We'll just go for argument's sake. Yeah, we're back to 1,000. Isn't that weird? I think it's.
Why would it be less with the plug-in? That doesn't.
It's just weird,
really
right?
make sense.
So that's 1,000. So I had said it because I put on a template 1175, one less than 1176, because that's what it was when we were testing it. But like I told you, Will, you're gonna have to test it every time. Because it's always different sample rates, different amps, different slew rates, different speaker excursion. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So now these are DSP, so they're active. And it may sound a little hollow or phasey, but a lot of times once you get done recording it and then you listen back, it lines itself up. So let's just see, right? We're kind of learning together. I promise you this is not going to be as bad a video as yesterday. Here we go. That sounds fine. That's a lot of amps and that's loud. Okay, that's a riff I wrote when I was a kid, and I've started playing it again, and I don't know what that's about. All right, so when it's in record mode, I can hear a little more of a hollow thing. Now, if we go out of record mode, let's hear what it sounds like. Now, I think maybe the plug-in is... Yeah, I don't know. I'm learning. Yeah, I mean, and you'd have to experiment, I think, because it was, what was it showing, like 1,000?
1054.
1054.
Like
Let's go 1055. One more, because more is more. Yeah, and but so getting back to this, the point of this is not to run it like this. I don't run all the amps the same level because it just always sounds funky. Yeah, so that's where we can start having fun with it. Plus, if we start recording like this, Austin called us. He wants to go play a Herbert in person. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing, too, with this is that we will then have DIs that we can reamp to do another set of guitars. And a lot of this came about by mixing Around the World in 30 Days because I realized, like, my playing was a little... It's cool. It works for the song because it's kind of a little bit of a... It's a little, like, sludgy, but my playing is a lot tighter now. And the thing that I've found is that sometimes... how do I say it? Sometimes the less you play, the tighter it is. So if you were to do, let's say, left and right, you have your two heavies. Then if you were to say, oh, I want to do another round of this now with like an Uberschall or something different, if you play it again, it's going to kind of give it a little bit more, I don't know, it's just going to have more of a human feel, not as tight. But if you take and reamp it with the DI, now you've got, it's going to sound different, and it's not going to have phase issues because it's a different amp. But the articulation's going to be the same, exactly the same. How the amp reacts to the articulation will be unique to the amp. But anyway, that's the game plan. So yeah, here it is. Here's Mesa, Marshall, and Diesel VH4. Look at that. Hey, look at that. I like it with a little bit of the VH4. It gives it, it's a little fangy, and it makes it go back a little. Yeah, and you could actually take this VH4 and just add a lot of low end and just almost use it like an EQ. Dude, Brainworks, these guys are out. They're on another plateau, man. Yeah. These guys are on it, and they also make shred spread. Yeah, these guys, Brainworks is cool, and each one of these plugins has an effects rack. Like it's got gates and delays and a whole bunch of schmutz. So let's do this. Let's kill that. This video is about to wrap because I got to go see if my kids are still kids. Here's Das Herbert. I almost said Das Schuberschall. No, that's a Herbert. So here's a Herbert. Let's go back to this. Oh. Yeah, and you kind of use these to, like, again, you can use these to sculpt like you would an EQ. So here's the Mesa's primary, Marshall's under it. I now start to bring in the Herbert. Yeah, I would almost want less top on the Herbert because I've already got enough cack. Like almost bring up more the low end, the deep, and bring in more of that mid scoop, more right. That's gonna sound more right. That in and of itself may not be the sexiest thing, but let's hear what it sounds like now blending in. Yeah, so you can have fun with it. I love Amplitude too, man. And that's the main things. I mean, I got this TSC is nice too. This is like a 6550. This is. It's funny, they all come in with this the presence high. It's like, who? Oh my god. All right, so this is like a 5150 block letter reproduction. So here's Mesa, Marshall, and bring it in. Yeah, there you go. So anyway, but we did figure it out, and people on Facebook helped me. It's amazing. Yeah. So if I set this all back to unity gain and I turn it on, that's the noise on. Yeah, gate's not even on. That's crazy. Oh, and that's with the OCD. Here's the sound of the amps with the DI. We'll bring in the VH4. There it is. There's everything. And you can hear a little comb filtering. Yeah. Once you record it, that most of that goes away, and then again, you don't necessarily blend all these together. I
wonder if they're actually hearing the comb filtering.
They probably are. I mean, they're hearing the recording.
Yeah.
Right? So now we listen to it out of record mode. And the thing too, what I do a lot of times when I'm recording is I record like this. I don't want to hear the DI. Like I just want to hear the amps, and then I've got the DI there ready to go on the ready. Four is nice. It adds a little to it. I like that. I love that plugin. Yeah, so we're going to be messing with this because we are tracking a whole bunch of different kind of records now, and I'm not buying a VH4. It's just not in the cards of what we're doing. So, if I can get something happening now, and we ran the cable, so it's all plugged in. Like all you do is go click, and there it is. The only thing you got to remember is you got to go back to put the ground back on the DI when you track bass, or you're going to have like a no grounded bass, because you're going straight into the DI. All right, so now we're going to stop this video, and we are going to mix Around the World in 30 Days. You gonna say like and subscribe?
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.